Hello and welcome back to the Trekcraft server. Yeah, this is an update for the Trekcraft server and a new project has begun. Yeah, we've been hard at work on this ship, the Enterprise E. Yeah, I'm not familiar with this ship. I don't know which show this is from or what, but I was asked if I would go ahead and start playing around with it, so we started working on this, I think, in early November. I believe this was originally a droid build, and he did some basic outlining for the hangar and whatnot, and basically just laid out some really basic areas and concepts for it. And then we went back through, I think, starting in November, and started reworking it and migrating the design a little bit to a more uniformed build, therefore updating everything because of course the resource pack and everything's updated. But yeah, I started going through and building out the decks, laying in all the decks and stuff. And as you can see here, this is a forward parking bay for, I believe this will be runabouts. And then we have this nice little island section here, and I'll go ahead and go into spectator mode. It'll give us a little bit more ability to fly through here. We tried to keep as much of the original concept work that Droid initiated with this build, but some of it had to be slightly modified and moved around a little bit in order to facilitate the plans themselves. But Panic added in this thing here, this atrium thing here, so went ahead and built around it and did a bunch of stuff. I do believe Magpie's been working on the exterior work. I believe Mad Squirrel had some input on it. I do believe they did a lot of work on the bridge section. I'm not real sure here, but it does look really nice. The bridge itself does look really nice. And I believe this here is a stairwell. Yeah, it's a stairwell down into the captain's private lounge area here. It's got a little head area, small galley area. And then over here, another, I guess, bathroom, or it could be made a private office or something. Then we got a bunch of other stuff down here on deck 2 that laid in and stuff. So there's some areas that don't have flooring and stuff. That's just because we haven't put the floor in and things like that. But a lot of mirroring hasn't been done either. The ship does need to be properly mirrored, but since the port and starboard sides are different, we have to do that delicately. Then we come down through here, you can see that the arboretum, or this open area here, goes down to almost all the way down to, I believe, just above the captain's yacht, if I'm not mistaken. Well, quite a few decks above the captain's yacht. We're not going to have a captain's yacht. I believe this is going to be a torpedo launcher, because I've already marked this as a torpedo cooling and blast vents. So this whole area here, instead of having a captain's yacht like we did in the Enterprise that I built on the Trekcraft server, this one here will just be a torpedo launcher. But yeah, went through and we mocked up a bunch of areas here. The plans for this ship are considerably different than the ones I designed for the Trekcraft E, which is a ship that I'm very proud of, albeit it does need to be updated as far as, you know, the internal blocks, because they're still using the old 1.12 resource pack, the old Mind Trek resource pack, and the whole ship would have to be updated to the new Trekcraft pack, and that would take some time, and it's one of those pet projects I'd have to work on over time, and, you know, but I don't plan on doing any like major redesign work on that ship, but just update the blocks, because we have this one, and this one here has a lot of potential and will require a lot of time. It does have some issues. One of the issues I ran into is when we get over here to the edge, this edge section here where these escape pods are, they're kind of landlocked. You can't really do much with them. So I mean, you've got this piece here and the decal work and stuff. Therefore, the escape pods themselves are pretty much locked where they are, and it doesn't give us a lot of room to work with. Now, I've thought about punching them up to this deck up here, but this again gets us into the parking bay of the hangars. We can't come up, so pretty much locked right here. Mad Squirrel recommended just because I just could not get this to look good through here, no matter what I did. It just looked, because it's so zigzaggy, it doesn't look good. So Matt recommended just go ahead and make that a exclusive, you know, escape pod access, you know, corridor. So that's what we ended up doing here. Again, finally it's up to I Panic whether or not he wants to keep this design as is or not, but we mock it up and then it takes us where it takes us. Now some of the decks have 4 wide corridors, but a lot of the engineering decks will have 3 wide corridors because the engineering section is a little bit narrower, so we had to go back to the 3 wide on the engineering decks. But on this up here area here where a lot of the crew quarters and stuff will be, it'll be 4 wide in most cases. I do believe that Magpie is working on the Luminosity B. I will say Maggie. Maggie's working on the Luminosity B, and they have a specific design that they are using for their corridor style, and it's a lot more thought out than what I did here. So a lot of this could be ultimately retrofitted, redesigned again over time to be something similar to what Maggie's doing with the Luminosity B, which is a ship, I believe, twice the size of this one, maybe half again the size of this one. It's a pretty big ship. But yeah, so we decided to go ahead and, instead of using the beautiful hull that Maggie made for us, Panic decided to go ahead and use the hull that Droid had mocked up. And it requires a lot of exterior work still, but they're getting it done when they have time. And it's the beginning of 2024, and this project, it was started at the end of 2023, so it probably won't get into full swing until close to summertime, just in time for everybody to disappear for the summer. But yeah, I've had a lot of fun going through here and redesigning the Enterprise E and trying to work out things. These right here, we've gone through with many different iterations. We thought they were, trying to figure out what they are, but basically they're just hull decals. They just put it on the hull because it looked good, but I've eventually just came to the idea that these are phaser coolers, phaser heat exchangers, because the main phaser unit is right there. So these are just heat exchangers. So when they have to go into combat, they can, bleed off the heat from the phasers because they're going to generate heat. And when they're not using the phasers, these things could be redundant heat exchangers to, keep this ship and the systems cooler, whatever. But that's my logic, and I'm sticking to it. And what do we got over here? Looks like they have done some more hull work. Some more escape pods. I believe Maggie may have marked those up. But yeah, I've gone through. We have redesigned the interior a little bit. Occasionally we get a design that we're not real happy with, like sometimes the corridors just don't line up the way we want them to, but then we go back and redesign them. Like this here, again, because of where the escape pods is located, the escape, it has this little section here, which I can clean up and make a little bit better, but right now I just kind of mocked it up like this. Eventually it'll all be like cleaned up, and this will probably be a big open area right here. Then again, you got this phaser strip right here going through here, like I said. And you got the RCS thrusters, and you got this outer corridor. Panic's pretty stoked about making sure that this build is very simple, easy to explore, easy to have fun with. So we limited a lot of the Jeffries tubes and stuff, trying to keep those to a minimum, like we did with the refit of the Enterprise D version 4. Went back through, and what do we have here? This is new. Edit, do not delete. Okay, so somebody's been doing some work around here. Those are new. I'm not going to touch those. But you can see here how the corridor is extra wide, going through here extra wide and stuff like that. Yeah. Then we have a section up here. I believe this will be like a 10 forward section. Looks like a multi-level area. Now, if push comes to shove, this section right here, like this corridor right here, can be removed and can just be, this whole section can just be recombined because they have this access corridor back here. So this whole forward lounge area can include all of this up here as well. So that's probably what's going to eventually happen, is we're just going to take this whole section and then reroute this corridor right here. Probably, just use this outer corridor and then just leave this as, maybe make this a separate room or partial room off of the off this lounge here, probably like a conference room or something like that, who knows. But again, you can see over here it hasn't been mirrored, and again, when we mirror we have to be very careful because the center beam of the ship does have differences from the port to starboard side, mainly because of a stairwell design that we had to end up using because of space limitations. I'll show it to you here real quick. The stairwell basically is a zigzag pattern. Comes off of deck 2 and it just kind of zigzags all the way down. So this is very important. We've had some problems where things get mirrored and it gets kind of nerfed up, so we've got to be really careful not to nerf this up. Let's go ahead and swing back here to the drive section real quick. Again, I pulled out the engineering section because Droid had mocked that up along with the deflector systems, and Panic wants to keep those pretty much intact. So the engineering section is out in front of the ship on the ground, and It's currently the same setup that we have here, except well, up there as you can see it. That way there they can modify that as long as they don't go outside the, don't tweak it too bad, and we can just place it right back into the ship. So areas around the engineering, like the turbo lift right here and things like that, they'll have to remain where they're at because obviously turbo lifts are tied in. But the engineering deck itself can be, modified and worked on. But they can do it in ship or they can do it out there. If they do it out there, then we have a, hard copy mock-up we can use to import back into the ship and whatnot. Then we get back here to this hangar bay back here in this cargo bay. I'm panicking. I believe Mad Squirrel did all of this. There may have been some other people involved with it. Sorry, I don't know all the people that were involved with this, but you drop a post in the or drop a comment in the video or something like that, or just send me a PM and I'll mention you in the next video. But yeah, you can see it's pretty neat through here. It's a beautiful looking hangar bay. Did a nice job with it. Very nice job with it. And then it goes back into here, into this cargo area here, in this crossover area here. I think they're going to end up putting on one of these, they're probably going to make them a transporter, cargo transporters or something. I'm not sure what they're going to do. But then you have this open cargo bay area here with an open catwalk. This will be open, like an open catwalk. These blue areas here will be bulkheads, because why not? Have to have bulkheads. And the space windows, I believe, yeah, these space windows are all in, which is a good thing because space windows are a pain in the pipe. If you've ever built one of these big ships, you understand that the three things I hate most about starships, space windows being one of them, the escape pods and hatches are being another, and the angles by which we have to do things. It's a block game, so you can't make things look good in a block game unless they're straight, north-south or east-west, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so when you get these angles and stuff, it's really hard to work with those. So everything's got to stay basically in one direction, and you can't skew it to make it look good. But the work they've done on this hull, I'll admit, it does look really good. I mean, it does look really, really good. But let's go ahead and get back into the hull here real quick and do some flying around here. We have, I think this is a mock-up for a torpedo. Yeah, it is a mock-up for a torpedo launcher. I don't know who did this, but it's here, and I didn't take it out. I just left it. This has been reworked, this lower section here. Panic went through and we did some modifying from the initial plans that we initially had. Made it a little bit bigger, a lot more room to do systems and things with. Then we have the, I think these are the antimatter pods, and then we have the stuff back here. There's been some confusion. Is that a door? Is that a vent? Is that a cooler? I don't know. And then up here we have more things like that. I believe it's going to be up to Maggie and I panic what we're going to do with these things up here. I think they're going to be sensor pallets and whatnot. But these are definitely a tractor beam and a torpedo launcher right here. So your torpedo launcher will be right here. This is the tractor beam. This will all be torpedo storage. And come up, I think it's a catwalk. Yeah, you do come up these stairs up into this deck here, and then we're in the escape pods up here. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun laying it out, but it's still subject to a lot of change. And then you have this deflector thing that I believe Droid designed, but we haven't changed it. We just finished up the wall on one side, and then utilized the space on this side over here for additional things, like emergency lockers, and just fill up the space. Yeah, just make sure, because there's space windows here, so there's a corridor right here, and it comes up here, and then of course turbo lifts take you all over the place. Because turbo lifts, they got to go everywhere, as you can see. All the way up here, and I wonder where this will end up taking us. It'll take us around back here, so that'll go to the shuttle bay. And then we drop down. I think we'll go around this way here. Yeah, this is all subject to modification and change. So it goes out of the ship. Got to make sure our turbolifts are actually connected to things that are important, because if they're not connected, then there's no point to, the turbolifts won't work, because you can't get from one side to the other unless they're all properly connected, as we can see here. It goes this way. Okay, so we just had to go a little bit further forward. Then we come around this way here. And then we take the turbo lift up. And up and then back into the bridge. So yeah, all the turbulets are working pretty good. Anyways, this has just been a real quick update on what's going on with our current project, or my current project, or one of my many current projects on the Trekcraft server. And y'all have a great day. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.